Okay, folks. I just did my laundry today. It's Easter Sunday, and my normal laundry is closed. So I went to the Coin Laundry down in Manly and got my laundry done. And yeah, I'm just going to get some demos done. It's a very nice looking sunny day. It's a bit cool though, but it's meant to be that way. It's autumn, middle of autumn, so yeah, you got to expect that. And we've got something interesting we're going to demo with anyway. Okay, let's see what we're demoing with. Found this near an Officeworks, still in a box. This quick start guide, someone had obviously dumped it. I don't know what the product is exactly. I think it's some kind of Bluetooth headphones. I think it's headphones, I'm not sure. It says Clip 4. I don't know what the fuck. Can't be bothered just farting around and making this demo a bit too long. So we're just going to make this into an interesting piece of work that we're doing here with this piece of shit that obviously well, it is a piece of shit in a sense because someone's ditched it. But, I don't know why would anyone want to throw out a set of instructions, because they could come in handy later on if you've, say, forgotten how the thing works. Sorry, it's taking a bit of time, folks. Yeah, I was on my way to Officeworks, and it was just sitting on the grass nearby. I was about to do some public demo, and that's come up looking quite interesting. A little bit wishy-washy and a bit blah blah, but it looks quite nice actually. I do wonder, maybe I'll move it across a bit. Move it across. I think I will. I do think maybe we'll try something else with that to make it less wishy-washy. We're going to use the dot matrix mode. It's one of my favourite go-tos when things are a little bit wishy-washy and need to be a bit more well-defined, a bit darker, add a bit of character. And yeah, it does look a bit more darker now. Still, it's not much very good definition of the subject though. However, it looks a bit hard to see. It's all yellow there and yellow there, like totally yellow. Even though I love yellow, because yellow is what I call a happy colour, instead of the colour called blue, because blue to me is sadness, it's depression. Even though it's a nice colour, I still get associations with it that are usually quite negative with blue. So I do wonder if maybe I could make this better. What can I do? Contrast. Maybe up the contrast a bit. Don't know if that's going to work. If it's going to make it worse. Yeah, the contrast, upping the contrast has actually made it more faded. It looks a bit more like there's a bit of definition there, but it's not, it's a bit more wishy-washy. That's before the contrast setting, and that's after the contrast. Looks a bit shitty, folks. Even though I like it, it looks a bit more contrasty. You can see more of the outline, but it doesn't have the same colour that no contrast has. I do think maybe I might make it a lower contrast. Perhaps that might work incidentally. I don't know if it's going to work. So we're just going to lower the contrast just a tad, see what happens. I don't normally touch the contrast in most cases, but it's nice to do something different for a change. And yeah, it's a little bit darker. It actually looks, I find the mid-range is darker than both the low contrast and the high contrast. I don't know why it is the case. This is the high contrast and this is the low contrast. So I don't know whether I might lower the contrast more and see what happens. See if we can get a better result. I'm going to drop the contrast. I'm going to drop the bloody contrast. Just going all the way, we're pulling out the stops, so to speak. Wondering if maybe the hue could go. We'll leave the hue as is, just to see how it goes. I'm really disappointed that there's not much of a contrast effect in a different sense. Yeah, that's gotten darker. In this case, a bit more. It looks a bit dirty, actually. I don't know what I'm going to do with this piece. Maybe I'll do some extra work on some other controls to make it better. But at least it does have more of the yellow in it. I think this is the mid-range, if I remember, so it's a bit darker than the mid-range this time. Gonna do some other shit with this. I actually think I might employ this and darken it here, and we're gonna lose the we're going to get rid of the red because it gets rid of the that setting. Sometimes you have to make compromises. These copier systems are not as well made as you'd like them to be. You'd like them to have more flexibility. And now I've gotten a really nice result. I got more of the image there, and it's blue and yellow, which goes together well. It complements well between happiness and depression. I do wonder if maybe I might up the contrast now. If maybe the contrast could go up. But that looks brilliant. I'm really happy with that overall result. So I'm just going to see if maybe the contrast is gone. Of course, brightness. Ah, yes, you can't use contrast with brightness, but I've pressed the contrast and I've lost the brightness, so I'm bringing back the brightness. And I forgot whether no, I didn't. I had the brightness up dark, and I had this brightness, this one dark. That's how I had it. I hated that. So yeah, the contrast, we have no choice. Do wonder, we're going to keep it like that. Yeah, the contrast is null and void. You can't have contrast control with brightness control, which is the light and darken on the top left corner. So that's just the way the copier system has been, unfortunately, designed. They don't make photocopiers are really badly thought out. I mean, yes, these these features would have come in at a time when the photocopier industry was working well with people who cared about the industry, who really, really cared. These people were basically photocopier nerds, otherwise known as toner heads. Toner head is a term for a photocopier nerd or geek or whatever you want to call them. And basically they made really interesting features that go into your photocopier, but now the features that we have now are basically old-fashioned legacy software, like software from the past, and they haven't changed it much. Oh sure, Konica Minolta, this company here, has actually changed some things, like they've added this flick and drag aesthetic, and they've also, in some machines like the ones you find at Officeworks, they've gotten rid of features in an attempt at trying to make it more user friendly, but it's not acceptable. It's crap, and the features, I get bored every time they have a new product launch. They just mainly change the hardware, and it's really dull and boring. The photocopier industry without the toner heads is boring and shit, and that's what we got. It's all about money and cheap labour and slave labour. So yeah, and that's come up looking quite a treat. Yeah, I think we can now call this demo quits.